Well, oh, that's not right. Oh, no. Welcome everybody to 1 hour of miniature goodness. Can you just check that the sound is working okay, please? Fantastic. Welcome everybody to my new Twitch times. I'm doing this to promote Tule. She's streaming after myself. She's helped me so much since I began my Patreon and my business. I just wanted to help her as well with her Twitch channel, and just show some love and support back to her. Okay, let's take a look who's in chat. It's already flown up. There we got Carlos, Scorpio, of course, Michelle, Tyson House, Scottish Andy. Hello, Scottish Andy. I hope you're well. Haven't seen you in ages. Geek Curio, thank you. Rod, hello. Gerald's in the house. Hello, Gerald. And Dawn, I thought you was following me before. As you can see, I got some little nifty little things now. I've been playing around with Twitch, and I've put it up so you can see when I get to 500 followers, then I can give away my little zombie dragon. And I've also got a little thing in the right hand corner that lets you know who's like followed and stuff. Just silly little things which I thought looked quite cool to add to the channel to make it a bit more interactive with you guys. Anyway, we've only got an hour, and I wanted to show you what I'm doing today. And I'm making gaming boards. So I've been asked to make a tavern. So I'm going to try and make a medieval tavern. I've made medieval taverns before, but today we're using balsa wood. So we're keeping it cheap and simple. We've got some nice foam card. This is 6mm foam card, which is fantastic for all your tabletop gaming needs for modelling. We have some balsa wood. This is 5mm by 5mm square balsa wood. And we got some 7mm by 4mm balsa wood. Now, it's a very simple case of I've cut these to size before the show because I bought big, huge sheets. Now, what I've got here, because I do all my boards for tabletop gaming for Pathfinder and Dungeons and Dragons, we're keeping it all in 1-inch square base grids. So everything I've been marking out is all in inches. So we've got a 10-inch board there. Thank you for subscribing, Nath. And we got a little what was that, 6-inch board here. So we're going to start with the long piece, and it's a very simple thing to do. Like I said, I've cut these to size, and we've got our little balsa wood. Now you can get all these balsa woods really cheap from your little hobby shops and Craft World, those type of places, and it's a great way to make your own buildings, and you can build them modular for your own gaming tables. It's very simple to buy your miniatures from like Tabletop World. You are paying a huge premium. I'm not telling you that my miniatures are as good as Tabletop World. I'm doing it to a tabletop standard for gaming, and at a price that I can afford. And this is what the channel's about, is doing things a bit cheaper but still getting a nice effect, but just getting it so you can get a nice gaming board going without breaking the bank, because some of these miniatures that you're buying for the houses and stuff are very, very expensive. Now, what I've done today as well, I've got my camera facing directly down on my table, so hello, look at my fingies, so we can just see directly what I'm doing. Hello Tal and Muse's Touch, awesome to see you. Okay, so all I need to do is, first of all, we're going to have some of these little pieces of wood. Very simple, and all I'm going to do is mark this one out, and we can then cut it to size. Now, tools you need for making cool little buildings. We got a steel ruler. Now, we use the steel ruler instead of plastic because we are using a craft knife, and with the steel it won't damage the craft knife. You're not going to cut through it. It's a much better thing to use, and these are dirt cheap to buy as well. This is a little wobbly one. We got craft knives. We've got a little selection of craft knives. These are like your 6-packs that you get for £1 in your local pound shop. Do the job. And I've also got a more expensive craft knife, which is for more detailed work a little bit later on. And of course we've got this little beauty. This is your little saw. This is from Army Painter, and it's fantastic for cutting balsa wood. Now you can use a craft knife for the balsa wood, but I find this is a very fine edged blade, so it's good for cutting through your balsa wood. Okay, let's make a start. Now I don't I've talked to Tule. She says she's just got home from work and she's gonna quickly have a little snack, so hopefully she will be able to be on the stream straight after, but she said she's only just got home from work, so we'll give her time and see if she pops on. If not, I said to her, well, we can raid you next week if you're too tired. I mean, Tule works such long hours, so sometimes she will be too tired to stream, which is quite normal when you've got a full-time job and a child to look after. See how this saw is amazing. It just cuts through bits of wood like butter. It's beautiful. So what we're doing, I'm just cutting lots of these little pieces, and these are going to be our little wood struts going around the building. Today I'll just be showing you the walls, and then if you enjoy what you've seen, I will show you how I did the roofs and make the roofs and all the chimneys and all the other little bits and bobs that go with these miniatures. And of course they're all for my Reaper miniatures, my WizKids Games miniatures. All my every game needs a tavern, so what better way to start a little building than by making your taverns. Actually, Scorpion's not lying. I did actually have a bath before the stream tonight. I had ink wash everywhere. It was all over me. Don't make me laugh when I'm sawing. My God, I'll have my fingers off. Okay, we'll just do a few just to get us started. Okay, so these are all nicely cut to the same size. And remember, when you're doing like medieval type buildings, you can get away. You haven't got those strong angles. Everything is worn and warped and all over the place. So you can actually get away with a lot of things. The more old and manky it looks, old and manky. The more old and manky it looks, the better it is. Hiya Gareth, how you doing, pal? So what we're doing here is we're just going along, and we'll be sticking these on. Now you can use PVA glue, and I would recommend using PVA glue, but because we're on the show tonight, I'm just going to probably use some super glue. But the first thing we need to do is get an idea of how we want our wall to look. Now I want that one there. Now we're going to have a door here, so there'll be a door going across that one, and then we'll just go a little bit wider, and we'll go like so. Okay. Now I'm not going to measure in between the lines. I'm just going to stick these on, because again, like I say, being medieval, you want it to look a little bit off. You don't want it to look perfectly lined up and centered, because it'll look too modern, should I say. Okay, so that's going to work nice. And by putting these little supports on first, that gives you something to work from. So like I said, I've just got some super glue, and I'm just going to add a few dots here and there. Now I would normally use PVA glue, but because the show's an hour long, we shall just zip through this with the super glue. And of course it's an instant stick, so you have to make sure you put it in the right place first time, otherwise you kind of messed up. I'm just adding a little drop, and a little drop here, a little drop there, a little drop there, and just centering that up. Now of course with a door frame we just have supports on each side of the door. And for the door we shall use just thin balsa and work our way around that. There we go, that's about the width for the door we want. And the last piece, that just sticks on the end. And of course we follow this routine all the way around all the walls for our main building. Okay, so that's simple. That's our start. So now we're moving on to the flatter piece. Now the flat piece we're going to cut individually and stick them into place, and they go center of each part of this board. So what we do here is we go in across and we just mark off where to cut, and that's just there on this one. Over there. Just test it for size. That goes in there nice and snug. We can do the next part. And once again we just mark it off. Yeah, I always glue my fingers together. I got a little file here. If some bits are a little bit tight, all I got to do is take it a little bit off the top. Balsa wood is magical because it's very soft and workable. It's really an easy wood to work with. Okay, next part. There is a wonderful thing about making your own terrain. I love all these tabletop world type houses and things like that. But when you make something yourself, it really does feel good. It really does feel good. Okay, one more piece here. And like I say, it doesn't take you long to start building up a nice little wall. I mean, of course, you've got your 4 walls for your starter. I like to make my houses a little bit larger, mainly because when you have Reaper miniatures or WizKids miniatures, it doesn't matter what company, to be honest, you will be having your miniature on top of normally like a 5mm base. So you have to take that 5mm base into consideration, and this is where a lot of the companies that have been making terrain for your miniatures make that mistake. They don't add in that extra 5 or 6mm for that base, so your miniatures are banging their heads on the roof, you know. So just adding a little bit more room to your miniature buildings just lets them run around inside a little more easier. Okay, just going to glue these now. I'm going to try and keep them as centered as possible. Okay, so that's our next little bits on. Now we need one little part above the door frame. So this little piece will probably go about here, a little bit higher. So again, we'll just mark that one off. And as you can see, I'm not measuring anything, I'm just doing everything by pencil. Just making it simple and easy. You can really spend a lot of time on these, of course, and really go to town. But I just want to show you how quick and easy it is to make a little start for your walls, for your games. Okay, so let's take that one out. A little bit of super glue. It's true, Gareth. Sometimes that needs to be done. Sometimes that needs to be done. You know, I love every single one of you, but you know, sometimes I need to just get on with my job. Okay, so that's that bit so far. Now we can add supports to the bottom, and we can add supports to the top, but my idea is I'm going to have this as a 2-story tavern. So this will be your main entrance at the bottom floor, and of course I use all my gaming boards go on a 12 by, I hope you can see this. This is a 12 by 12 6mm MDF board. So all my gaming boards, I always use the same size board, and I use the 6mm MDF because that does not warp at all, and it's a good price to buy. And of course this one will go on here, and it'll go, it's a bit hard to show you when the camera's directly below, but that'll be going all the way around. So what will happen here is we shall have a very nice internal section for gaming. Because that's another thing I noticed with a lot of the taverns and buildings I've seen people you can buy. The inside is so small, you can't fit the tavern bar in, you can't fit the tables in. So you need something a little bit larger because it's particularly made for gaming. It's beautiful to have all these fantastic looking it's fantastic to have all these beautiful looking houses all over your gaming table, but if you can't actually fit your minis inside them, then they just become scenery. And if you're a proper gamer and you want to play inside the tavern or your buildings, you need to just add that extra little, make it a little bit larger, because we're playing with a 1-inch grid base, whether it's Pathfinder or D&D. You need that extra space inside. It may look over, so it might look a little bit too much, but because we're playing with that 1-inch grid square, it's quite important to have that movement inside the building. And most buildings I've seen so far, you've got like 3 or 4 squares width, and that's no good for some of the games. I mean, if you've got a party of 6 players, you can just about fit the 6 players inside the building. So I'm trying to make them a little bit larger so the games are more interactive inside and out. And more immersive, that's the word, Michelle. Yay! Yay! Hello, Goblin Squire. Okie dokie, right, let me get rid of this again. Okay, where am I? Blah, 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 blah. Right. That's right. Okay, so I've forgotten what I was doing. So I didn't even have a coffee tonight either. Right, this board. Now let me show you a fantastic way to. If you look at Google and you type in medieval buildings, you'll see most of the buildings are old and worn, and so this plaster that will be peeling off, and you'll see the stonework underneath. Now with this foam board, there's a fantastic way of doing that, and this is where I got the really nice little craft knife to come out. So what we're going to do with this is we are going to actually cut away the first layer of paper. Now that we've stuck on our pieces of balsa wood, we can now start removing the paper from this piece of foam card, and just to reveal the foam underneath, and then we can start imprinting rocks from underneath the card. So it's a very simple thing to do. You do need a sharp knife. Don't really like using knives on shows, but we'll try. Just don't laugh and cut at the same time, Mikey. But you do need a sharp knife. Now, of course, you want to make it a very uneven cut. You want to make it look like plaster is coming away from the walls. So what we're doing is we're just going around. And then what we can do is we can slip this knife on the side here. Just take a little bit down to one side. And again, the other side. And then we should be able to slip our craft knife underneath and just slowly start peeling away that paper. And that'll leave the foam underneath. There we go. And then we can just pull that piece off. Again, we just go over with the craft knife. Some of the paper will stick, but we can just get rid of that nice and easy. There you go. Go away. Go away. Go away. Go away. Need some tweezers. Or grippy tweezers. This will do. There we go. Operation. Operation. Okay, we'll go back to that one, and what we're doing is we're just adding this everywhere. These little islands, you could call them islands, yeah, islands, that's a good word for it. And we'll just keep on going around, adding these little curvy little cuts, and then we'll just take away the paper, and again that will leave us with the lovely foam underneath, which we can then mould into rocks, so it looks like the actual, it'll look like the actual wall is coming through. Now I shouldn't be doing this. If you see me cutting towards myself, that's not what you should be doing. You should be cutting the other way. So anybody watching, do not cut towards yourself, always cut away from yourself. Okay, it's terrible because I have bad habits. And that is, I do cut towards myself with a craft knife. I've been doing it for years and years and years. Yes, I've cut myself. Yes, I've cut myself, but I got a bit more control than a beginner. But you do have to be careful. Always try to cut away from yourself. Yes, it is. Dawn, I totally agree. But we don't say that to the kids, okay? We don't say that to the kids. Okay, let's move on. So as you can see, it's already you've already got your little marks there. But what we'll do is, once I've cut out the rest of the pieces, I'll show you how I make the little rocks underneath of the foam. Okay, what I always find is the best place to have a piece of plaster peeling away is by looking at photographs on Google, and you'll see all the old buildings and you'll see all the plaster peeling away, and it's always by the wood beams. So if you remove the paper around by the wood beams, like I say, it can be tricky, and I know there's everybody watching me, so it makes it even more difficult. But I'm getting more confident in my streams, so that's good. Okay, just maybe the one there, and a little one over here. Thank you for subscribing, Geek Curio. Oh, thank you, Michelle. That's very kind of you. Ah, see, Michelle, your little name's come up now, look. And now Naif's come up. It's good because I can, with that little new app thing I've added to the channel, I can actually see. Yeah, see, now everybody's doing it. Hi, Tal. I wonder if Tal still smells today. Okay, I'm gonna tell the world what happened last night. Now, last night we was playing Dungeons and Dragons, okay, and my Scorpio is a DM, and we play Tomb of Annihilation with Michelle and Tal, and I don't know if there's anyone else in the house. Anyway, the point is, I got a T-Rex. I got a T-Rex in this game. Don't ask me how I managed to get hold of a T-Rex. It just kind of happened, and it's a long story. But look at him. He said, "I didn't." Anyway, many moons ago, I was in a game with Tal in chat, and he used me. Thank you, Muses Touch, for subscribing. And he used me as a cannonball and shot me off at this boat. So I thought to myself, right, we're in this game last night. I got my T-Rex and we're fighting some fire giants. So Tal decides to do it, and Renegade Shanks in the ass. So Tal wants to run past me to attack this fire giant, of course, which is he has to run underneath the legs of my pet T-Rex. So I'm ordering my T-Rex to try and poop to poop on him as he runs under his legs. It was hilarious, but he rolled. He rolled and managed to get out of it. He said, but honestly, it was hilarious. It was hilarious, and I will get him back. But it was a good game. It's funny. Yes, if you've never played Dungeons and Dragons, I recommend it full-heartedly. It brings your friendship together. It really does. Oh my god. Okay, stop laughing. You got a knife in your hand. Let's get back to work. Oh, it would have been so funny. It would have been. Oh, okay, I'll go. Oh my god. I think last night actually was the first time Tal ever swore at me as well. Yeah, he was so angry. That was good. His little face. Okay, I'm getting on with this. Okay, so I'm carrying on, just making lots of little rough cuts in the paper with my craft knife. Oh my goodness. T-Rex poop. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm getting on with it. I know, I'm sorry. Here we go. Okay, so I'm just taking the paper off. There we go. I apologise. I get something in my head that I think is funny, and then I can't get it out, and I can't stop laughing. It's just an issue. It's called happiness. I mean, Scorpler, my Scorpler. She plays in a separate Dungeons and Dragons game with Nath and Tommy and Carlos, and they fought a dragon a couple of nights back, and so they killed this dragon in game. And Claire comes running into my room, and she's like, "We killed a dragon! We killed a dragon! We killed a dragon!" And it's just the sheer joy on her face. It was a joy to see, you know. I'm probably missing what you're saying. I apologise. I gotta be careful because I am using a knife, and I don't want to stick a knife in my fingers, of course. I'm just trying to take this paper off. I need to get underneath here. There we go. Good, get in there. There we go. How are we doing for time? That's good. Okay, so a couple more. We need to just do the top parts, and as you can see, it's really already starting to look worn. And I'm going to show you how I texture this as well. So we've got a full-on wall before the show finishes tonight. But this is a very simple and cheap way to make yourself a nice little tavern for your games. That's for sure. I mean, like I say, there's no problems at all getting like miniatures from like Tabletop World. They are expensive, but if you can make your own, it does give you that feel good factor as well. I mean, everything takes a little bit of time if you want something to look really nice. Is Shank being a naughty boy? Yes, when you're doing the plaster, removing the plaster, you always try to make it very uneven. And of course, if you aren't very good at modelling, that makes it look even better, because doing this medieval type of houses, like I said before, you want the house to look kind of uneven. You don't want straight edges. You don't really want too much going. It needs to look old and worn, and the more old and worn and decrepitated, I think the word is, the better it'll look. Yes. I mean, if you... Thank you for subscribing, Rod. If you look at, for a perfect example to see good old-fashioned type buildings, it's in Lord of the Rings. You go to Bree in Lord of the Rings, and you take a look at the old houses in the film and how they're made, and they just look fab. They look fab. And also, there's a few places in the UK. There's a couple of very old villages. I can't tell you the names offhand, but there's a few places in the UK that have all these very old, as I call, medieval looking houses. They're just your normal houses, but to me, I see them in the fantasy light, you know. And they got all the wood beams, and they just look beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Just do a one here. This is a big section, so what we'll do is we'll take a large chunk out here and just move it across and down, and we'll just take it back up so it kind of joins the part the other side. That'll be nice. There we go. Okay, we just slide the knife under here, and we can just go across. I'll put my hand over here so I don't cut my thumb off, and we'll go across. Just pull that bit off, and this bit again. There we are. Now, as you can see, I've got most of the paper off. We've got one more and one here to do, and then I can show you how I get the old rock effects underneath. Very, very simple thing to do, but it does look very effective once it's done. I just add a few more little rips and tears. But foam card is definitely the way to go if you want to make buildings. Now, You can use cereal packets, you can use old boxes, of course you can. Foam card is almost a luxury, should I say. But you can get away with definitely using cardboard. It's not a problem. Yes, I believe that, knife. I totally believe that. Okay, nearly there. Just trying to get rid of some more of this paper. Because I'm doing it on a live show, you know, of course it's more difficult to get rid of the paper than it is when I'm doing it with nobody watching. But that's life. There we go. Okay, last couple of bits. One here and one just the top here. Just a little bit. Let's get the little knife in there. Yeah, see, that bit came away perfect. The only piece, and it's come away perfect first time. When I make a shoe house, I could make a cookie house. I could make the gingerbread man a cookie house. Okay, this is the last piece coming off now. Just getting the knife underneath. If anybody's doing cutting, by the way, as you can see, I'm using these boards. These are what they call self-healing boards. You cut them and it kind of, you can use all your craft knives, and you get these from all hobby shops and pound shops. There's a little shop quite close to me, The Works, I think it's called, The Works, and they sell these little mats. They're about £1.99. Probably the same in the USA and in the EU. But if you're doing any type of crafting, you really do need one of these boards, especially if you're using, you know, your mother's tables or thank you for the chair, sculptor. But you really do need one of these little boards, and they will save you hassle. I have ruined my mum's table in the past when I was a young man. I think that was the time they kicked me out of the house. But that was many years ago. So yeah, you need the correct tools, and these boards that I'm using, like I've got underneath here, if you're doing any type of crafting, they are 100% needed. They are necessary. They are part of the crafting, and something you need to buy before you start doing anything else is get yourself a cutting mat, and you will be sorted to start your adventures. Okay, this paper is doing my head in now, so I'm gonna just I'm going to just move on with the next part. So what we've done here is we've removed most of the paper, so we got all our little areas where we want the rocks to the wall underneath to be shown through. So I'm just trying to remove the rest here I mean, it doesn't matter if I'm picking up the paper because it's going to be lumpy anyway. Nasty paper. I'm not going to speak to it again. Okay, let me see if I can zoom in a little bit. So you can actually see this part which I'm doing, which is quite important. So this is our wall close up, and as you can see, it's already looking quite fab. Let me see if we can get some focus for you. No, that's not focus, doesn't it? There you go. Okay. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I've got just a pencil, and all we're going to do, let's see if we can see what I'm doing, is we're going to make little round, oblongy type of balls. We're using our pencil to push. We're pushing the polystyrene underneath around, and we're just going around and making indentations on the to make little stones. So we're making little round areas, and of course once you've painted over this and dry brushed it and done all the cool things we do to make everything look worn and old, you'll find you've got a fantastic looking old-fashioned wall underneath. So we're just adding these. The pencil is making the indentation. I can't say that word now. And as you can see, that's all gone down deep now. So once I've painted over that, that'll come up beautifully. And then of course we've got the plaster on top, which gives us that other finished effect. Now let's see if we can go another part here. Thank you, Goblin Squire. Like I say, it's a fantastic, easy way to do things, and it's just great fun too because you're creating your own little house, and it's all your own work, and you can't beat that if you like crafting. I mean, I know there's thousands and thousands of videos out there on crafting. I know I'm just probably doing exactly what someone else has already showed you, but this is the way I do things. So I have my own little way of doing things, and it works for me, so I'm happy. So there we are. We're just adding the stones there, and we do that to all the areas. And of course, because we've got the pencil, we're using the pencil. It's giving you the outline, so you can actually see what you've done. If you just did the outline with a sharp tool, you wouldn't be able to see what you've done. So by using the pencil, you've actually got that line there. And then once we cover the whole of the wall with paint, it'll all totally blend in perfectly well. Now what I'm going to try to do is quickly look at the time. Ooh, okay, what I'll do is I shall just finish this little bit, and then I will show you the texture that I add to the walls. And we shall then see if Too Late is streaming, and we shall go and raid her channel. So once again, we're just following the walls around here, the little bricks underneath. And like I say, once this is all painted up, it'll blend in, it'll be like magic, and it'll look really cool. And of course it's that way around. So that's your door there. And then you'll have all your walls. This will all be painted in, and then we've got the texture going on now. And then, in fact, that's what I'll do. I'll quickly show you the texture, and then we'll see what's going on. Focus. I know I've been trying to do the focus sculptor. It doesn't seem to. I don't know what's going on here. Okay. Is that okay? Is that okay like that for focus? I mean, all I've got to do now is show you the last. Thanks for telling me the camera is in my face. Don't make me laugh. I've nearly made it to the whole show without losing it much. Okay, for the texture for your walls. Now, sand. This is ultra fine sand. This is from the finest beaches in Scotland. This has been washed and dried out in the sun, but it's ultra fine. I think this sand was our little visit to St Andrews a few years back. So you guys are nuts. So all we do is we use one of my little blister packs. Now you all know I love to not waste anything, so I use the blister packs the minis come in, and I just use that for my PVA glue. And of course, very simple to do. We just add that into there. And we just add the PVA glue to the top layer of all our walls, which I'll show you now, which is very simple. And I just use a manky old brush, and we'll just go up into the wall. We try not to get too much on the wood. It doesn't matter if you do go onto the wood, but we try to just go along the edges. We don't go onto the parts of the polystyrene, so we just go in, we just follow in the cutouts like so, and we do that in all the parts that we want our textured wall. Doesn't help that I am using a really manky brush and it's pointing everywhere but where I want it. So we just add a bit there, and a little bit here. And just here, just on the top bit. And just here. So I think you've kind of gathered what I'm doing. I'm adding glue to all the places that I didn't cut out. I'll get this finished for you today, and then we shall move on. So I'm just gonna get this glue on. I mean, I think this is a nice, cheap and easy way to make a start on your taverns or your walls or whatever you want to do, to be honest. I mean, you could use this for castles, you could use this for anything medieval, you could use it for fantasy villages, anything you possibly could want. And of course, by making it yourself, you can make any scale, any size. So yeah, it's awesome, great fun. And also, sometimes you can be put off, and you'll think, oh, it looks awful. But I can guarantee you, once everything has been spray painted or given that primer coat, all of a sudden everything that you've just done instantly blends together. So what you need to do is, even if you think at that time it looks awful, just keep going. And once you get to that priming stage, and everything really does, believe me, it comes together, and it really, you'll be shocked at yourselves. It's really that simple. And of course, you do get that joy of making your own stuff. And of course, your friends can go, ooh, that's nice. You take care, Goblin Squire. Thank you so much for popping in. Okay, so we've got all our PVA glue, and put that into some water there. When I use my sand, I normally put anything that I'm using sand. I put my miniature or anything, I put a piece of paper behind the miniature so I can just catch all the bits. So all I'm doing here now is I'll just start sprinkling this very fine sand over the areas which I put the PVA glue. And this will just give a little bit of texture. This will give a little bit of texture to that pieces of paper. Oh, that's the door. It doesn't stick to the door, Mikey. so that's that on there, and then we just give it a little tap off. And we can funnel our little bit of paper and get all that sand back in nice and tidy into our little tub. And there we are. This is our wall so far. All we need to do now is we'll add the door, of course, and I'll finish off the little parts of the holes there for the rocks, for the bricks behind the textured wall. And then once that's got an undercoat, of course, we'll have the whole house. So there we are. That's my wall for today. Now